Hello and welcome to the Federal. Today we are joined by Mr. Shah Pradhan, senior author and political analyst, who is here to shed light on the Yogi Adityanath government's latest move to remove illegal loudspeakers from temples and mosques and also lowering the decibel levels of loudspeakers in several religious places. So, Mr. Pradhan,
Yeah.
what, according to you, is the message that is being sent out by the Yogi administration by this diktat to remove illegal loudspeakers from religious places?
Such orders have been issued in the past also, and on several occasions, I remember, by different governments. But that's a routine exercise which is carried out. But in case of Yogi Adityanath, it is very, very evident that the whole idea is to silence the loudspeakers at mosques, because it has been his agenda is pretty open. The idea is the communal divide, and for that he would go to any extent. And in any case, you find more mosques with the loudspeakers than Hindu temples. There are not many temples which have or which install loudspeakers or use loudspeakers. So the idea is to send a message to his constituency that he is continuing with his aggressive posture against Muslims.
All right. But what, according to you, led to this decision by the chief minister at this point in time? Why did he choose this time to do this?
Yeah, that's a very good question, because that's what made us all wonder, because there's no election at this time. But since he has been told to prepare ground for the 2024 election, he doesn't want to waste any time. And they want to keep the fire burning, the flame burning, in the name of divide and in the name of hatred. So in order to keep the hatred alive, you have to go on doing something or the other. And loudspeakers had become already controversy over loudspeakers was already spreading all over the place across the country. So this was a fine moment for him to do something which would compel his other competitors in, for instance, Shivraj Singh Chauhan in Madhya Pradesh, or the Khattar in Haryana, and that like in the other BJP governments, who all seem to be racing with Yogi Adityanath as far as aggressive Hindutva is concerned. So I think that is the whole idea. It is fine to, and what he played a very smart game. He got the volume of the loudspeakers silenced at his own mutt in Gorakhpur, the Gorakhnath temple, which also had a whole lot of loudspeakers. And he even went to the extent of turning the mouth of the loudspeakers inwards instead of being outside, to send the message that, look here, charity begins at home, so I am starting it in my temple. A lot of Muslims have taken it in the stride, and they feel that, well, these loudspeakers were needed at a time when where people didn't have watches and clocks and telephone. Now you have mobile phones, so you don't actually need. Azan was meant at a time when these gadgets did not exist. So they try to but this is not what the actual message that is there. The message that is being put out by the Hindutva brigade is essentially to tell the Muslims that, look here, we won't let you do this, we won't let you do that, and which is how their politics have grown, and which has also been responsible for giving them the kind of surge that they got in the elections. It's largely on account of the divide that they've been created on the basis of hatred.
All right, okay. But do you think this has some serious significance for Yogi 2.0? I mean, after he's become the chief minister for the second time with a good mandate, now he's doing this. Do you think there's any significance as far as that is concerned?
No, I think he only wants to, on one hand, he is trying to project himself as a somewhat mellowed down Hindutva icon. Because he has already, he's embodiment of Hindutva, wearing the saffron robes, and heading a monastery of Hindu monastery itself gives him an edge over all others in the BJP team as far as Hindutva is concerned. So on the other hand, he was trying to kind of appear more inclusive through these orders that he issued, cutting across all religions. The order, it says, talks about all religious places. But the message is obviously, because, churches don't use loudspeakers, gurdwaras don't use loudspeakers, temples invariably do not use loudspeakers. They are taking up now, some of the temples have taken it up essentially to spite the Muslims. So they like you hear of Hanuman Chalisa being recited 5 times. They'll say, we'll also recite Hanuman Chalisa 5 times a day. But the whole idea is to compete and to somehow, train their guns towards the minority community.
So you would say that this is indirectly the administration's agenda to target the minority community and to victimize them?
I see no other reason, because it's fine that as far as they are stopping, if they actually shut down all the loudspeakers at every place, still I would say that the whole idea is to target Muslims, because in any case, whether they need it today or not, I agree that they today loudspeakers may not be required at any of the religious places, because religion is a very private affair and you can do it and you can do without loudspeakers. But because it has been a tradition and a practice, an established practice, now if you try to create any impediment, it is bound to arouse communal fervor, which is what suits the BJP. So, this could lead to major problems, and that is the reason that it is being systematically professed and promoted. Otherwise, there is no reason for Yogi Adityanath at this is a time when he should be concentrating more on administration, which he's trying to convey also by other means. The kind of orders that he issued recently for asking his ministers and bureaucrats to submit their annual financial returns, which is also something he did in the first regime, but it didn't work. So he's trying to show that he is an administrator also.
Do you think if polarization was the agenda of the Yogi Adityanath government, do you think they have actually succeeded in doing so to a very large extent?
Absolutely, absolutely. Polarization was the agenda of the BJP, and they have definitely succeeded. And there I would not give them as much credit as I would put the blame on the people whose minds have been, I would say their minds have been corrupted. They have lost their balance. Their rational thinking has gone for a 6. And they only talk in terms of Hindu and Muslim, which is very unfortunate. And you can't blame a political regime. It is the people to be blamed for that.
Some reports are saying that Yogi is trying to copy Modi's post-2002 Gujarat style of governance. So do you think Yogi is trying to emulate the same style?
Certainly, he tries to emulate Modi, I think, primarily because that chair is on his goal. And already people have started talking about it, that maybe not 24, but maybe 29. Because 24, everybody knows that since Modi is there, so there's unlikely that anybody else would be given a chance. But certainly by 29, when Modi would probably be much older, and he'll be in his late 70s by that time. So maybe then Yogi has a chance. And so he would not like to leave any stone unturned to groom himself and to send the message that he is the only choice. He is the only alternative, and he can be the only rightful and legitimate and capable successor. And, since their whole politics is based on aggressive Hindutva, yes, you are right that just as Modi after 2002, particularly in the second stint, the kind of things he was doing, Yogi seems to be copying him.
But do you think Yogi is making a very conscious effort at an image makeover, and that to post his win in the UP elections? Or is it just a part of his administrative politics?
I think a lot of people are talking on those lines, that he's, he's very particular about his image. And all this while, he has systematically built his image as a Hindutva icon who could go to any lengths, who could cross all limits, and who could take Hindutva to the hilt. And he has actually done that. And of late, I think it is too early to conclude that he is changing his ways and he would like to change his image, even though he has prime ministerial aspirations, and for which he needs a broader and a more acceptable image at the national level, more like a statesman, which Modi managed to do at that point of time. But I wonder if Yogi would like to do that, and how much it would affect his politics also, because all his rise has been essentially on as a Hindutva icon, and that too aggressive Hindutva, which is not an easy thing, which is a step ahead of what Modi did. Even here, when you talk about the 2002 riots, let me point out that of late Yogi has been claiming, and his publicity propaganda machinery has also been highlighting the fact that during Ram Navami, this Ram Navami, when there were riots in several parts of the country, including New Delhi, UP, there was not a single incident of communal rioting or communal clashes. So, that is what has led people to conclude that he's trying to change his image. But I wonder if it is more of a publicity stunt, or he actually means it. Because a lot of money is pumped into his publicity system. Just before the elections, let me point out, 650 crores were spent in 6 months. This is recorded from the state budget. I don't think any state in the country can afford that kind of a luxury as far as publicity is concerned. But UP did spend 650 crores on just publicity 6 months before the elections.
Issues like uniform civil code, Yogi hasn't given a clear-cut answer yet about them. So if a decision to go ahead is taken nationally, will Yogi be amongst the first CMs to implement it in the state? I mean, nobody can foretell the future, but according to you, what might...
Well, he would certainly, yeah, why not? He is among those who would want to do it right away. But he needs, naturally, for a thing like this, he needs Modi's clearance. And Modi, I think, would want to do it closer to his election, because it's Modi's election. 2024 is Modi's election, and he would, in case he finds that things are not going his way, and because he's very keen and quite desperate to see that he gets more seats, his score is higher than what he got in 2019, then he can do a lot of things which he has not done so far. So in case he thinks that he's still short of that, maybe this card could play, because every card that they play is aimed at garnering more and more votes. So if Uniform Civil Code can get them votes, they will certainly do it. But I don't think they're doing it at this juncture, maybe a little too early.
Do you think he has the edge over many other contenders who are also pitched in the race to be the next prime minister? There were talks about Devendra Fadnavis. There are even talks about Amit Shah. Do you think he'll be able to fight?
I think Amit Shah is way ahead of everybody else. Devendra Fadnavis is, I don't think, is anywhere now in the reckoning as far as that is concerned. But yes, Amit Shah, it won't be easy for Yogi to cross Amit Shah, override Amit Shah and reach there. So it's not an easy exercise, easy game to play. But if Hindutva is going to be the factor for pushing somebody to that height, or elevating somebody to that height, then of course Yogi scores over everybody else.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Pradhan, for your time. For more such interviews and videos, don't forget to log on to thefederal.com.